Welcome to episode 12 of the Big Bad Bruins Bantah. I am your host, Papa Bruin, and we are joined by Shannon Walsh of Slapshot Sweethearts. Well, Shannon, thanks for joining us again. You've been two of the last three. You've been kind of the Billy Jaffe sandwich. We had you, then Billy Jaffe, then you. So that's a pretty damn good sandwich if you ask me. So welcome.
I was gonna say, what an honor to be part of that sandwich. Thank you for having me.
Right? So let's just get right into it. It's great to talk about a Bruins first round victory, and surprisingly, to be honest, pretty easy. Winning the series 4-1. I thought this series would go at least 6. I'm always kind of a Bruins pessimist, I guess, because they always seem to drag stuff out longer than usual and that they have to, but this series was not that case, which was great. So what's your 10,000-foot view of the series and how it went down?
Yeah, I mean, same with you. I had the Bruins winning in 6. I wasn't going to be surprised if it went to 7. Obviously, pleasantly surprised that they wrapped it up in 5. As someone who lives in DC, it was very fun to go to Capitals bars and watch that. And
you're at the bar watching it. Oh, very nice. In your face.
Get heckled at the bars. I mean, they played well. I was surprised, but the Capitals also did not play great. So, I mean, I don't know if it's testament to the Bruins being ready to go into round 2, or the Capitals just really not looking stellar.
I think, I don't know if I had a percentage on it. I would probably say 70 Bruins, 30 Caps, underwhelming, and Bruins overwhelming, I guess. I think the Caps' biggest mistake, and maybe call me crazy, after the first goalie got hurt and Anderson came in, and then they went from Anderson and went to Samsonov, whatever he's called. I mean, I call it Samsonov. That's how Sergei Samsonov was pronounced on the Bruins. I'm going to go with that. I thought that was a big mistake, considering I know Anderson's older and so forth, but I think he played fairly well in those 2 games, considering he played, 3 regular season games? And he was basically just a security blanket to a degree that no one ever thought he was going to play, let's be honest. But Samsonov, COVID-less twice, and didn't play for 14 days or 10 days, something like that. And he's a rookie. So I think they made their own bed. I don't know. I mean, it's not like Anderson got shelled. He went to overtime, made 40-something saves. I don't know what else you can ask for a 40-plus-year-old goalie. I mean, so what do you think about it? You think they made an error there, the goaltender?
Yeah, Anderson played well. I mean, he won game 1 when he came in a surprise move for Vanacek getting hurt. I mean, that was annoying in itself. The Bruins looked like shit in game 1. So, I mean, again, 50-50 there. But I was surprised that they put – and again, in game 5, I think it was game 5, Samsonov was questionable, and they still put him in and didn't just play it safe and put Anderson in, which is crazy, particularly if you think – you're going to be able to push the series and potentially win it, and you're still putting a potentially injured goaltender in. It's stupid.
Well, was that? Oh yeah, I remember he came up kind of gingerly in one of the plays the prior game. So yeah, to your point, I mean, why didn't you go with the body of work you saw? You saw that, Samsonov beside the gaff with Craig Smith played very well. I thought he played very well overall. But I heard Billy Jaffe talk about this on his podcast, The Morning Brew. Just a little plug for him as well. That was the change of the series. Like, that basically killed any chance, I think, for the Capitals. That was so deflating. And Ovi ripping his guy in Russian. I know there's multiple translations, what he actually said and all this stuff. Because I know, Russian hockey, old schools, 1980, kind of thing. I don't think that's going to work today in 2021, especially with a young goalie. I think there's very, very few captains I think would have done that to their player publicly. Like, if you did in the locker room, it's one thing, but he did it publicly, and with technology and TV and everybody's translating what he said. So that was a bad look, and I think they coming unhinged anyway there, right? That was when they were coming unhinged, and then they didn't really put up. I mean, game 5, the last game, it just seemed to me, even though they had 2 times more shots than the Bruins, it just seemed all perimeter to me. It didn't seem like a lot of danger chances. The Bruins had 20 shots, and I think 14 were quality, and they buried their chances. Where if being a Bruins fan, as you know from the past, that's usually the Bruins. They put on 50 shots, can't score. The other team puts up 12, game 7 versus the Blues, and then they lose. So I think their identity since the Hall trade has changed a lot of things with them. I think they got more confidence, momentum. I mean, let's just go into kind of what I sent you over as a checklist. Let's talk about our boy Tuukka. The lightning rod in the city for I don't know why. I still don't know why. Like, so when he lost an OT, I thought he should have had that OT goal. I thought that was kind of borderline.
Yeah, I was pissed in the OT goal, but I can't say anything bad about Tuukka Rask in this series. He looks incredible. He broke Bruins milestones in like multiple games for playoff records, and I mean, he looks good. I can't shit on. I mean, I always am looking for a reason to shit on Tuukka Rask, and I can't.
Well,
so
you're a rational human being. It's it's very few and far between of us left. I posted about him, winning the most Bruins wins. Everybody's like, how many cups? I'm like, here we go again. So I made a comparison. I go, well, Dan Marino's a really, really good quarterback. And so he sucks because he didn't win a Super Bowl. Like, it's a team game. If you are a quarterback and don't have wide receivers to throw to, or you have Cam Newton as quarterback, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone there. You're not going to win. If you have a bad defense, you're not going to win. Same thing with hockey. It's like if you like Game 7, I still say Game 7 versus the Blues. That whole series, actually, I put most of that. I would put 80% of that on the first line, not showing up. Okay, and then maybe 10% on Tuukka, and then 10%, various people. But they always, because Tim Thomas won. Now it's funny when you look back at Tim Thomas's career. Prior to that year, wasn't a stellar goaltender in the playoffs at all. Let's be quite honest. And then the following year, they got knocked out in the first round. Joel Ward, where are you now? So it's like people just saw the silver chalice being raised up and saw that he did, once in a lifetime goalie performance. Let's be honest. You see those very few and far between. Ken Dryden, Roy, stuff like that. But it's just amazing how he gets destroyed. I just want to go over his numbers here. I'll do the old sharing of the screen here. So we'll go over his numbers here, and we'll kind of go right down this list. Shannon, jump in anytime you'd like to tell me if these numbers are terrible. I just want to know. Four wins, 1 loss. That was in overtime.
Yeah.
Okay. Shots against 169, 10 goals against 1.81. Last time I checked, anything south of 2 is pretty amazing. And a .941 save percentage. And I think if you're anywhere north of like .920, it's pretty awesome. So I think that was pretty damn good. I think that was kind of dominating. I mean, what's your whole feedback? I mean, again, like you said, you were looking for things to really call him out on beside the Game 1, but he just came up time and time again.
He did. And it's going to be really interesting going into whoever we end up playing in round 2, because they have entirely different goaltending situations.
Ooh,
the Penguins are, and I'm glad you brought up the shots on net situation that the Bruins were having with the Capitals, and that they were being outshot by the Capitals, because it's the exact same story in the Islanders Penguins series right now, where the Penguins are just flinging pucks at the net and hoping that they go in, and the Islanders are winning the series because Tristan Jarry is letting bad goals in.
Oh, he's terrible. Oof.
That's what the Bruins are going to be able to win that series if they, first of all, if the Penguins keep Tristan Jarry in net, and if the Bruins are smart about the shots that they're taking. And it's going to be the same story with Tuukka Rask if he can focus and keep the myriad of shots that the Penguins are going to be flinging. They're averaging like 50 shots a game, which is insane. And if they can keep that pace, it's going to be a challenge for Tuukka, but they're not all incredible shots. It's just going to be a focus challenge of blocking a lot of shots, not high quality shots.
Yeah. And I know I used to, when I was younger, I used to be really well plugged in the whole league and every team and all this stuff. Not as much anymore. So tell me about, if like the Matt Murray situation, like a couple, when they traded him, did he regress that much? I mean, shit, he won a cup with them. Am I correct?
Yeah, he did.
Did he regress that much to get rid of him? Because I don't see much in Jarry, to be honest.
Penguins have a really short fuse with goaltending. Obviously, they did not protect Marc-Andre Fleury because they thought Matt Murray was the new go-to. Then Matt Murray had an season. You could probably compare it to Carter Hart this season. They trade him to Ottawa. They think Tristan Jarry is the new guy. Tristan Jarry is not the new guy, and they're going between Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry. What's interesting is that Tristan Jarry's numbers are not that bad, but then you look in the last 2 of the 3 games that they have lost to the Islanders are because Tristan Jarry screwed up in net.
That gaff that when he just that was worse than actually Samsonov, I think, because I think that was more miscommunication between his defenseman and him, where this was just a total brain fart, didn't think at all. Never, again, I think it's something you're taught right as soon as you start playing hockey, loving hockey, watching. You never in front of the net. What are you doing? Like, that was like, dude, I mean, that could be the killer, right? That could be it for them. That could be the killer for them. They won't recover from, like Samsonov. I thought that was just no excuses for that.
And on the contrary, if they go up against the Islanders, Varlamov and Sorokin are a really strong goaltending duo, and they are using both of them right now and swapping them pretty much 50-50. So that's going to be hard to go up against. What'd you say?
They're going to use Varlamov tonight, you think?
I'm not sure. They had Sorokin play in the last game, but Varlamov does have a lingering body injury. So I don't know if it's because they want to go on the dual goaltending situation or if it's because Varlamov is nursing that injury.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you go with the hot hand and who you've been playing. Even though Varlamov, that guy, the guy with the V, I always have a hard time with the Russian names, played very well against the Bruins, right, this year. He played very well. So I don't want to play the Islanders at all. Again, I think it's more also of a selfish thing. I don't have any angst against them at all. Whereas the Penguins, being older and, the days of Cam Neely and then Ulf Samuelsson and Mark Savard and Matt Cook and them, stealing our colors back in 1980. I have a lot of hate for the Flightless Birds. I don't have much for the Islanders. I don't know. They never.
And we've played awful against them all regular season, except for the last 2 weeks. So I think they're going to be a harder play, even though they're not playing that well in the playoffs.
I just think they're kind of a, meat and potatoes kind of team. And they're really, I know Barzell's insane, but like they're, their
birthday actually.
Grinder. What's that?
It's Matt Barzell's birthday actually.
Oh. Well, happy birthday, Matt Barzell. You should be wearing black and gold, but Don Sweeney could answer to that. And I just saw who scored in overtime for Winnipeg. Connor, right?
Yeah, Connor did, and swept the other Connor, which is
another guy who could have had it. But I digress. All right, I can't get over the 15 thing. I have to try, but I still can't. But I will. If they win the cup this year, it goes away, and that's it. That's fine. But I also want to talk about. We're gonna I'll probably just bring up the stats again so we can both look at them together. David Pastrnak, most of the series, I would say he couldn't bury his chances. He was snake bit. Defensively, dumpster fire as usual. And again, I think I don't know what he's thinking sometimes with these passes and getting broken up at the line. I think it's such the offensive mindset, he forgets about the rest of the game sometimes.
100%.
I did love the body shot he threw over at Ovechkin after Ovechkin blew up Marchand. I like that. That was good. All right, that should be something. And I think that started to get him going. And then even the goal, the goal that Marchand scored, but that was his one-timer. And then he had that unbelievable goal. It was unbelievable, but the Capitals defenseman just said, I'm not going to play this. I'm not going to play this play. I'm going to take this one off and let the guy just skate completely around me and just fake out Samsonov and go. I mean, he is leading the team in points.
I was about to say, I am absolutely shocked to see that he's leading the team in points because he has not looked good in this playoff so far. He has been sluggish. Like you said, he does not play a good defensive game, which is why he has to be absolutely on fire on offense or he looks like shit because he gives up turnovers all the time on the defensive end. So if he's not looking good on offense, he looks bad and he's a liability on the ice. And I am absolutely shocked that he's leading the team in points just because he hasn't looked that great. But it actually is a testament to the Bruins offense right now because it means that the points are spread out. I'm looking at 5 or 6 players that all have 3 points. That's good. Jake DeBrusk having 2 goals in the first 2 games was shocking.
So we're going to go down the line, but back to Pastrnak, 29 shots in that series. That is insane, but he only buried 2 of them. So it's his one-timer from the circle that he was his bread and butter. It's not working.
Not working.
It's not there. It's not working. The Bruins need to, I think, give up on that a little bit. Try to, move him around or whatever, or put maybe Krejci over there or Hall.
I mean, the Bruins haven't had a lot of luck with deep slap shots anyway. That hasn't been their bread and butter this season at all. They've been working well with rebounds and, close shots.
Right. They're mucking it up a little bit more, I think. Let's just go to right down. Charlie McAvoy. Just holy shit. The Bruins, we have Bobby Orr. we have Ray Bork, we have Char, and then we go to McAvoy. I mean, how spoiled can a franchise be from a defensive standpoint? When he's not there, I think when he was, he's injured late in the season, the team was completely different. So that's before they had Hall too. They don't have a guy that could bring the puck up. Like him and Hall are very similar, and you can call me out on it or agree with me, but about moving the puck, they just have such a command of the puck and command of their skating that I don't think many guys in the league can really compete with them. And I think it really changes a lot of the game, right? Because the defense, the defense has to be on red alert in the forwards and everything. Because he doesn't pinch. He pinches in a lot. He's behind the net. He does all the things, which Kevin Miller does too. But we'll talk about him later, which is kind of scary. But I was just blown away about McAvoy's maturation over these last four or five seasons.
Yeah, and Charlie McAvoy is kind of a surprise in terms of, again, his presence on the ice because he's small. He's not a big defenseman. I mean, maybe I'm just overcompensating because I'm used to Zdeno Chara, but he is not a big, I think he's 5'8", 5'9". He's not a huge defenseman. And the Bruins don't have a ton of really big defensemen anymore besides Brandon Carlo. But I mean, it's incredible the way that he's able to hold himself both physically and in terms of his skill and on the offensive end of the puck as well.
Yeah, he plays big. He plays big. He's small, plays big, very big. Bergeron, what can you say about him? I mean, he only had 3 goals in the series, but he had 2 when you needed them. Like death blow. Those were death blows. Every time Washington tried to get some momentum, crushing, which was fantastic. So Taylor Hall gave me the holy shit moment of the series when he scored that goal. I literally said, holy shit. I mean, I like, holy shit. Like, how many? You don't remember Pasternak's goal the other game too, but Taylor, just everything about that play was just like highlight reel, mind blowing. Like the other teams have those guys. We don't have those guys. We finally have one of those guys. I think he's been very solid considering this is the first time he's ever got to the second round, I believe. I think he's only been in the playoffs with New Jersey, right? I don't think he ever went with Edmonton or Arizona. So I think he's been doing great since we acquired him. If we didn't get him, we're not here. I don't think we beat Washington.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I think he has brought a whole different excitement and chemistry to the locker room. Again, we talked about it when I was on earlier in the season, but they relied so heavily on that top line. And David Pastrnak, again, was not looking like last season's David Pastrnak. Right. And now that they have a second line that they can rely on, it's rejuvenated the bottom 2 lines as well. They don't have as much stress on them. They don't have as much anxiety that they need to score. And Taylor Hall has brought such an energy to the offense. And one other thing that was on the statistics was that Brad Marchand, Taylor Hall both have 50% of the faceoff percentage, and Patrice Bergeron had almost 60%. And we have been talking about it last night on our live stream that the faceoffs are really critical right now in terms of who's getting more shots on net and who's maintaining dominance on the offensive end of the puck. And particularly in the playoffs, that's been huge for all of these first round series.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think to your point, the whole cascading trickle down effect from having Hall has helped Jake DeBrusk immensely.
Yes.
Now he doesn't have to have the pressure of being a top 6. And I think, again, let's be honest, he's a playoff guy. He's not a regular season guy. He's a playoff guy. He does score big playoff goals. If he can keep this up and solidify that third, because I like how Coyle and Richie and him are playing together. So I like that. The only line that needs to kind of step up a little bit is the fourth, but I still like what Corrali's been bringing from a defensive standpoint. I'd like to see more out of Wagner and Lazar a little bit more. But again, you got all 4 lines are going right now. I mean, this is what, one way or the other, this is what you need. And this is something the Bruins lacked from multiple playoffs, is a second line that could scare the living hell of another team. And a third line that could put one in here and there. So again, I rather face the Penguins because I think from a defensive standpoint, I think they're more vulnerable. But I think either of these teams, they held their own. They won the last 3 against the Owls, as we said, and they took their season series against the Pens. I'm not afraid of either of these teams. Scared we can't beat them. I'd rather not play the Islanders just because of matchups and that they'll beat the shit out of you. I mean, let's be honest.
They've also got Barry Trotz as their coach, and Barry Trotz as a playoff coach, especially if they can get out of the first round, they're going to have a different chemistry in that locker room and a different excitement about what they're doing on the ice. And right now they do look slow and sluggish, but I think if they make it to the second round, there's going to be a different level of momentum that the Bruins, not that they should be concerned about, but they don't historically play well against the Islanders to begin with. So it is a risk to some level.
Right. And I mean, only the Capitals could fire a coach that won them the cup. And then since then, they have not first round. So great job, Washington. Great job.
They're just
So we kind of hit upon our points of the game. So, you know, we're going to find out if the Islanders, this is on Wednesday, if the Islanders can close this out tonight. If not, it goes game 7 on Friday. And I think the earliest the Bruins could play Saturday because the Celtics play Friday night, which is end quick. So, you know, this is good. And I'm feeling good. And let's talk about the other series before we hop into the Ask Papa Bruin and Shannon questions. You see that Toronto has advanced. Montreal didn't put up much of a fight. And they're not, let's be honest,
Montreal hasn't advanced yet. They've got one more game.
Oh, I thought that was 3-1 last night?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, they probably will advance.
Yeah, I mean, it's very likely.
Yeah, Montreal, I don't know how, they were like, I don't know how many points behind Toronto, right? Like over 10. They were hanging on for dear life just to keep the, you know, Calgary off their tail and stuff like that. But Winnipeg when is McDavid going to ask out of Edmonton? Even though he came out and said, I'm in for the long haul, it's going to get old quick, man. You said right the ship. I think you should scuttle the ship, blow it up, sink it, and start again. Because, I mean, you got Nugent Hopkins, you got him, you got Draisaitl, and they still can't do anything.
They've got Darnell Nurse on the blue line, too. I mean, they've got a couple good pieces. Their goaltending sucks. It blows. But I don't think a great goaltender is going to propel them on a cup run if they can't get out. They got bounced in the play-in last year. They get swept in the first round this year. If you've got 2 MVP caliber players, 2, and you can't get yourself not even on a cup run, but out of the first round, that says a lot about the internal mechanisms of both your roster and your front office.
Who is Chiarelli's not there anymore, is he? No.
Does Chiarelli even have a job anymore?
I don't know. I don't follow the Oilers news, but I know you're more ingrained. But who's the coach over there now in Edmonton?
I don't know. We were talking about it last night, and someone threw it in the comments that they've recently had a coaching change.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Well, no, it didn't work clearly.
I know, right? That didn't work. I mean, if I'm the Oilers right now, trading the best player in the world is tough, but you know the haul you get in for him. I would, you know what I mean?
I mean, Buffalo's in the same situation with Jack Eichel. I mean,
there's way better than Eichel, but I know what you
mean.
Well,
yeah, but you know, one of the top players in the league that clearly doesn't want to be there, isn't going to be happy, isn't going to produce for you anymore.
Again, if you don't want to be there, get a good haul. Don't be like the Bruins with Sagan. I know Sagan wasn't at that level then, and get garbage like we did. Get your fill. I mean,
the worst thing the Bruins ever did to me.
I mean, I ranked the Joe Thornton one up there too. It's pretty bad as well. We didn't get garbage. Like those are. Just to look at that quickly, those are 2 franchise-changing trades that you could have got a large return on that you could have been reaping benefits.
You get Louis Eriksson and picks. Like, why did
Frazier, Riley, Eriksson? No, Riley was in that trade. Eriksson, yeah,
Riley Smith was in that trade, wasn't he?
Yeah, Riley Smith. I'm trying to remember how Riley Smith got here. I thought he was in that. Frazier was. There's a bunch of other. I know Frazier scored 1 big goal in 14. In the playoffs or something, but that was it. I mean,
I loved Riley Smith though, and now he's an assistant in Vegas, and he's doing really well. And I'm like, again,
I always liked him. I thought that was trading him for what's his stupid name? The guy from Boston. His brother plays for the Philly. What's his name?
Hayes, Jimmy Hayes.
Yeah. Oh God, that was.
He doesn't even play in the league anymore.
Because he couldn't play in Boston, even though Wagner and Coyle are playing pretty, fine, doing fine here. But anyway, so who else has advanced so far? So who am I missing?
Avalanche.
The Avs are a wagon. Let's be honest with you. I know you were talking last night about Minnesota possibly beating Vegas. I don't see that happening. I know.
So there's 3 games up for elimination tonight. We talked about the Penguins and the Islanders. The Penguins are up for elimination. Minnesota's up for elimination. They already pushed it because they were up for elimination the other night.
Right.
And Florida and Tampa. Florida was also up for elimination. They pushed it another game. I think 2 of these will go to game 7. Really? I'm not sure which 2. I think all of them have potential to go to game 7. There's opportunity in each of these because Minnesota's at home. And Florida is at home.
Right.
So,
I like Florida push Tampa. I mean, this is the thing you want to look at too, because with the reseeding, we could play any of those teams if we get out of this round. You could play Vegas, you could play Colorado, you can play Tampa. I want those teams to get as tired as possible and beat up as possible. If the Bruins can get 5-6 game series and try to keep their health up, because they're pretty. Beside Miller, they're pretty healthy. I mean, they are.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't want to jinx it, but the Bruins have actually, they always have tough injury luck in the playoffs, and they have not, besides Kevin Miller, who literally is made of glass, have not had, and Kasha, but he was barely.
Oh, Kasha's done for the year.
I know.
In case of emergency, break glass case, Kasha here. Oh man, wow, it's one of those things where you almost feel bad, like, dude, you should just retire because it's just not working out.
I almost feel that way about Kevin Miller, though. Like, stop prolonging it.
I love Miller. Before he had all the knee injuries, he was so what they needed from a Pissah.
He's classic Bruins grit. Like, he is really Bruins core. And I think it was good he was here for this season. It was in the locker room and could help that blue line develop. But I don't think he needs to prolong and risk injury for another season after they've developed, and they can, assuming they can go deep in the playoffs, but perhaps not win. They know what they need on the blue line for next season.
I mean, I went back and forth when they picked Miller over Chara. I'm like, oh, they should have kept Chara. And then, well, Miller's playing good. Oh, holy shit, he's hurt again. At least Chara's put that, Z, love you, man. But saw him in that series. He's cooked. He's done.
That was tough to watch him do all the hugs and the handshakes as they.
It's nice. Okay, maybe you know this because you kind of, like I said, you're very wired into the league here. What was Tuukka's kind of answer he gave about Chara? He's very business.
Well, so Tuukka did quite a few cryptic media interviews, which Tuukka is always pretty cryptic with his media availability. And so he's been asked quite a few times. Obviously, he's a pending unrestricted free agent. So is David Krejci. Cam Neely said the other day that he expects, they've tabled discussions with Tuukka Rask, which is not necessarily a surprise. You're going to the second round of the playoffs. You don't want to be doing contract negotiations with your starting goaltender. But he said he expects both of them to return, which is not a surprise for David Krejci, but kind of a surprise for Tuukka Rask, because I am of the opinion that I thought he was going to retire. Tuukka seems like he's nearing, like, it's not a lack of skill. It's a lack of interest in continuing to play, in my opinion.
Well, I think he hears the bullshit and the detractors and the hate. I think he does. Like, I still can't get over, and I don't want this to become Tuukka part 2, but when the truth came out that his daughter was sick, they still don't care.
Oh yeah. It comes up every time I go on a podcast that it's like the first time I've been on there. It comes up every single time.
It's amazing because, again, if you're a parent, I mean, it's kind of, that, right? It's part of who you are. Even if you're not a parent, you're like a human being who cares about people. You'd be like, all right, I understand. The one thing I learned is when Tim Thomas went through his shit, I thought he was going crazy town. But then I found out years later that he had concussion issues and he had all this stuff. And I felt like an asshole after, because I'm like, I was judging this dude. And I said, after Tuukka, if he didn't have his heart in it because he just didn't want to play anymore and he just left because of that, even I, who's a big fan, would be like, come on, man. But then I said, I'm not going to pass judgment until I find out what happened. And then I found out what happened. I go, no brainer. His daughter's sick. There's a pandemic. Go home. I mean, sorry. But the haters are going to hate. I think they get off on it. I don't know. I think it's something they thoroughly enjoy. Even on my page, I mean, it's like I don't know if you're a Marvel fan or whatever. It's like Marvel, the Civil War. You had Captain America's faction, you had Iron Man's faction. They're all good people, kind of. They're just having problems on certain things. This is the Bruins fans. Like, who's on Cap's side, who's on Iron Man's side, and just going attacking each other. It's like, God, we're all rooting for the same logo. Let's forget about the name on the back and worry about the front. It drives me nuts. Shannon, I battle so many times. Like I said, I put the thing, he won the most playoff games in Bruins history, and everybody's, oh, he didn't win a cup. Oh, geez, did I even say that?
Well, but so that's the thing there. So he's broken how many playoff records just in these first 5 games of the playoffs. They're going to round 2. He's played well. They have a chance to go deep in this playoffs. I think they have a chance to contend. We'll see who they get seeded up against if they can make it out of the East. But if you're Tuukka Rask and you've already made it this far, you've groomed 2 goaltenders in Vladar and Swayman well, so that they can comfortably take over. They're not in their early 20s anymore. I think Vladar is 25 now. So,
right.
You've got a couple of goaltenders that are entering their prime years of, goaltending experience. If I'm Tuukka Rask, I would be comfortable retiring. I don't think he's going to sign more than a year or 2 if he does sign.
No. And I think him and Krejci, I think if they want another kick at the can and possibly win another cup, I say they sign a 1-year deal at a discount, home rate discount. Krejci get to play with Hall and Smith another year. I mean, geez, I don't know how that isn't appealing, right? Why would you want to? How old's Krejci?
Yeah, Krejci makes a lot more sense. I 100% think he'll sign again. But
How old is he now?
Tuukka,
36-ish? Krejci?
what'd you say?
How old is Krejci now? Like 36, I think, around there.
Yeah, I believe he is a year older than Bergeron.
Yeah, so he's again. Twilight, you're getting it. Let's be honest, twilight of your career. This is the back nine. Why wouldn't you just? I mean, you still have the core together. I mean, they're super close with Bergeron and Marchand. Just keep it rolling, you know. All right, now it's our favorite time of the show. Let's Ask Papa Bruin, where the fans from Big Bad Bruins Nation ask questions, and the best question will get a Big Bad Bruins Nation shirt. And Shannon, as you know, some of these questions may have nothing to do with hockey, so they could get weird. So just
I love that Big Bad Bruin shirt you're wearing.
I think you are someone who respects the nice libations, so I'm gonna have to hook you up with these. I'm gonna write this down now. I know before forgot to get you in, so let me get this one. Because you're a two-time, you're a dynasty now on this podcast, so back to back. All right.
Yeah, we're actually trying to launch our merch store soon. So as soon as that gets up and running,
I'll be in on that. Definitely. Merch is always cool. I'm hoping, just to be completely selfish, we have a Do the Crosby, which is a shirt where it has the
he's like, I've seen it. He's
shadow of him, yeah. So I'm hoping to play the Penguins, but so I could sell something. I'm not gonna lie. It's come on. We're all here to make money. No, I'm kidding. It does help a little. So we're gonna go right into it. So this is from Toby MT. I don't know what MT stands for. Let's talk about the expansion draft. Who do you think of the Bruins will be taking? I'll take a shot first. I don't think DeBrusk goes now because for some reason I think they like what they see now because he's kind of coming to form. It's probably gonna be one of the D-men. I let Zaboral go. I think he had little flashes here and there, but no, I think you're better off getting a change of scenery, pal. I think it's a D-man, probably lower D-man, something like that, or maybe a Wagner or something. I don't see any of the top nine going. What do you think?
See, I'm going to stick either with DeBrusk or if they do let a D-man go, I've got to look at their salaries. I quite frankly have not looked at their salaries, but the Bruins, again, have to bolster that blue line with probably like another vet, and that's probably going to cost them. And even though the Bruins do have quite a bit of cap space going into the offseason, the cap is not going up. So if they can make even more space, that is the best they can do. They've got to balance getting rid of, trimming the fat, both salary-wise and roster-wise.
Right. I'm not going to say this person's name, but someone said, why are you so annoying? So what I want to say to the haters out there, why are you wasting your time? Like, just if you don't like what you see, leave. I don't understand. People love to be trolls and love to do what they do. But, I say, why are you still here? And he said, to put you in your place. Well, my place is way better than your place right now because I have a bunch of fans that we get along and we have fun. I have podcasts. We talk Bruin. I don't know what you do. So enjoy your little enjoy your rock and how you live on it. So hopefully it doesn't get too heavy to crush you. George Labaras, I hope I didn't say your name wrong. Does a possible original six finals Bruins versus Leafs get anyone excited? Well, of course. I mean, who doesn't like the historical teams? Like Bruins, Blackhawks was great. I do, Knights, Lightning. I'm an old school guy. I'm kind of like, okay, two warm weather cities playing in the cup. I'd love to see Montreal in there a little bit more, Toronto and all those teams. So what do you think? Would you lose your mind over a Leafs Bruins series? I would, because I'd love to see those people cry in that freaking court.
Yeah, I would love to see the Leafs and the Bruins because I just really freaking hate the Leafs. But when we interviewed Dale Arnold at the beginning of the season, he said his dream Stanley Cup final, obviously it's a long shot now, but the dream Stanley Cup final was the Canadiens and the Bruins.
Oh, right.
Because that rivalry technically is supposed to be worse for the Bruins, but as a younger Bruins fan, seeing us have to play against the Leafs literally every year, I just can't.
No. I totally agree with you. I think now, like I said, being longer in the tooth than you, I think Leafs fans are what Canadiens fans were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think they've just become from a team who hasn't won shit since 67 or 69, or a long time before I was born. So long time ago. I heard people who are Bruins fans up in Ontario just say they're insufferable. They're just insufferable human beings. So to you insufferable human beings, when you guys get out of your, the PlayStation 5 North Division or the, Yeti North Division, whatever division you're in, Tim Horton, I don't know how Tim Horton did not get sponsorship of that division. Guys, come on, get going. They're going to run into a friggin' either Colorado or Tampa or they're smoked. They're going to get smoked. So at least
they lost to Montreal in game 1. I love how good the Jets look. Like I would freaking adore if Toronto lost to the Jets and didn't even make it out of the North Division.
Oh God, I love it. Oh my God. Honestly, Shannon, in my life, just from the joy of another fan base feeling pain, now outside everyone the Patriots played for so many years, it's like Steelers fans, like Leafs fans, when just to see their, the major comeback they had in 13, stuff like that, just seeing their faces just melt off and just have them just succumb to just complete misery was never more satisfying. It was beautiful. I love they're jumping up and down. Then I love the one they lost, no team, the place just scattered, just gone. Like that. You just wash your hands of it, like you.
I mean, there are so many bandwagon Leafs fans this year because they're like supposed to be
yeah.
And I can't wait for them to start losing and for everyone to be like, oh no. Like
I just want to snap my hands like Thanos and just see them disappear. Not 50%, the whole team. Let's see. All right, we talked about that one. All right, someone said this. I mean, Jennifer Marie, do you think the Bruins would consider signing Char for a day so he can retire as a Bruin? Yeah, that's going to happen. Let's be honest. That will happen. I'd love to see him on the coaching staff. I think he'd be phenomenal from the coaching, as a coach, as a leader, Pasternak talked about how much he helped him in his career. He was getting kind of emotional about it. And Char, I don't know if you could ever find a better human being. To be quite honest, you've never heard a bad thing about that guy ever. And he only gave.
And his family still lives in Boston.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to note. So
yeah, Pasta said, I can't wait when he comes home back to Boston, to hang out with. Okay, we talked about the Jennifer Carroll. We did talk about Vladar, and we talked about Tuukka. Shannon gave us some lowdown on that. Do you see the Bruins, Alan Araujo, I hope you said your name right. Do you see the Bruins re-sign David Krejci this coming off season? I say yes.
Yeah, I think if they don't re-sign Taylor Hall, it might be a different story. But if they re-sign Taylor Hall and then David Krejci's like a 95%.
Yeah, I think it's a tandem.
But if they lose both of them, they have got some serious offseason issues to contend with.
So speaking of Taylor Hall, I just want to kind of interject here. So I don't know if you ever heard the app called Time Hop, which goes back in your social media and shows you what you posted. So 11 years ago, when Taylor Hall won the Memorial Cup, I said, this is before the draft, I said, hopefully he'll be raising a cup in Boston soon. I was 10 years late, but it could happen. So we'll see. Joe Stradamus, we'll see. Taylor Hall, we just talked about that. I think Taylor Hall's not going anywhere. I mean, I had my second thoughts about him in the locker room stuff. I mentioned this to Billy Jaffe. I don't know if you heard it on the podcast, but I heard George LaRocque say something about, kind of the atmosphere, how Hall was, and also Andrew Ferentz about the partying in Edmonton and all this stuff. Again, he's, Hall was 21, 22. I'm sure he did.
I mean, that's the same problem we have with Tyler Seguin. And what did we do? We traded him, and now he's incredible. So, you can't fault a guy at 22.
Put any teammates' wives. Who knows? I mean, who knows if that's true or not? Who knows? But like you said, they are young. I mean, that whole team was young. I mean, Ferentz is probably the oldest one on that team by far, right? Let's see what else we got here. All right. Sorry. All right. I like this question from my man Jed, who is actually a reborn Tuukka supporter now. He was a hater. He said he has the Jed. Thank you. He really, what changed it for him? We forgot to mention this. When Tuukka started beating the dude out of that guy beating the crap out of that guy with those.
That was beautiful. It was.
Now, I don't know. If people remember Tuukka when he was young, he was a nut. He was a nut job. When they won the cup, I have a picture, one of the hockey cards of the year they won the cup. He's they showing him in a hot tub holding the cup. He was a nut job. He definitely toned down. I know one of my friends from Finland. They're very stern, but he was an absolute nut job. So Tuukka was crazy before. Okay, for you people that thinks he's just a miserable human being. No, he was a 22-year-old nut job. So hey, applause to him. But Tenorti, I thought played very good this last game.
Rare thing to hear.
Well, you don't like Tinordi?
I have no opinion on him. Like
Okay.
I know Twitter has a lot of opinions on him, but I don't have.
Well, I don't think he's the next coming of like.
No, he's certainly
No,
not.
Chara or Bobby Orr or anything like that.
Honestly, if he doesn't make a mistake, perfect. Like that's how I feel about half the Bruins blue line. Like if you don't screw up, then great. If I don't hear your name, fantastic.
Yeah, like Cliffy Hockey. Like Cliffy Hockey played very good this series, but the regular season, I want to pull my hair out most of the time.
Right.
It's a mess. All right, we have a very, very well thought question. Tim Maxwell asks, "What's your favorite color?" My favorite color is red. How about you, Shane?
Probably like hunter green, dark
Hunter,
green.
going deep in the crayon box.
Like
Hunter
dark green, yeah.
I do like that question, even though it's very simple. Let's see. This one, James Hales. I've talked to him. He's, I think, a transplanted. We had a meet and greet. He's a transplant down in, I believe, Georgia or Alabama. How long are the lines going to be to use the crapper at the Garden? Now, you spelled Garden wrong because you used an R. With a full house and social distance toilets. James,
That's a good question, actually.
good question?
Damn, that's a well thought out one.
All right, James, I think you're in pole position here with the shirt. Okay, Kim, this one's good too. I love these fans. So you fucked up like me. Kim LaPerriere said, "Is it weird to eat 2 sausages at once at TD Garden wearing only a mask?" Depends. I don't know. Like, I'm not one of those. I may have had a sausage and a hamburger, maybe. I mean, not 2 sausages. I would definitely put on more than a mask, and I'm pretty sure you won't be able to get in. If you had multiple masks and covered up multiple spots in your body, maybe you could get in. I don't know.
I don't know what the dress code is at the Garden, quite frankly. I know it's probably pretty loose.
Especially for barbecue meats. I don't know if you could have the meat on you or, whatever. But James, that was well thought out and a little weird. So I do applaud that, though. I don't know, Shannon, you may know this. I don't know why I think this, but you may. What's the temperature that pucks are frozen at?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
Bill Hughes. God, these questions are good today.
Like trivia.
Yeah, it is. That one's good. Bill.
I have to assume like 28 degrees or something. Is that too high?
Bill Hughes was into it. He's like, with all the bouncing of the puck Sunday night, wouldn't they be changed out more often? Are they kept in a freezer? Needed or in a bucket of ice?
We did talk on my live stream the other night about how as it gets warmer and as the NBA playoffs start, ice conditions are getting really different. So like at the Garden for Boston, the ice conditions are very different now that they're sharing the court a lot more with the Celtics for the playoffs. Whereas in Vegas, I know they're having a ton of issues with ice conditions because it's like 100,000 degrees. So it's interesting when you consider those.
Well, this is another thing about warm weather, teams. I mean, come on, this is what's going to happen. I mean, just think about it. That's a good question, though. That was getting me thinking about Deflategate. I was getting like footballs and this and temperatures. Jay Stevens. All right, that one we kind of talked about. Hall already. Would you trade Pasta for Draisaitl? Oh, I'd entertain it, but after Pasta's coming around now, I probably wouldn't get rid of it. If he flatlined the rest.
That's also like it's just trading like tomato for tomato. Like, I mean, they're both comparable. Like Pasternak's gonna be an MVP caliber player in a few years. So it's like, how long do you want to screw? Right. Like, do you want to screw with the locker room and screw with the dynamic just to like tinker, basically? I don't know.
All right, so Sean McAvoy's in that. We talked about that one. How would the long layoff between last night and the next game affect them?
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
All right, I will go first quick because I don't have as many thoughts. I'm someone that believes that you should, anytime there's a long layoff, you're going to lose low focus, of course. I always like to play, keep playing. Especially if you have a bad game, you get to come back and play next time. Luckily, they won the series in 5. All right, so I don't know. I think Bruce is going to. Let me step back. I think the first game they're going to be rusty as hell. I think the first period could be one of those, let's survive the first period, get our shit together, and go on. So what do you think, Shannon?
Yeah, part of me wishes the Bruins Capital Series went to 6. I am actively rooting for the Islanders tonight so that they can start the series sooner. I am not of the opinion that 6 days off or 7 days off is
It wouldn't start sooner, right? They play Saturday either way, right?
No, because if Game 7 would be Friday, so then they'd start.
But if the Isles won tonight, they still couldn't start the Bruins series until Saturday at the earliest. Right?
Yeah, but if they go to Game 7, it'll go Sunday or Monday.
Oh, Sunday, Monday, correct, yes.
So, Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that a week off is good for this Boston team that's really relying pretty heavily on momentum after the trade deadline.
I agree. I think, but the one thing that they do have that locker room presence, right? These guys have been there before, right? What happened when they went to the 19 Cup? Oh, you skipped. Maybe that's a good point. The 19 Cup, they finished Carolina off in 5, and we know what happened. But at the beginning of that series, they really.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's not because they choked at the end of the series.
Yes,
not
dominating a lot of that series at the beginning. They had a 7-2 blowout, if you remember that. And I thought that series was over in 5. I was like, all right, let's be over quick. Of course, the Bruins let us down again. Again, people forget, just to talk about that quickly, people have to look. The Bruins, from a big stage standpoint, are not a good franchise. They're 6-14 in the Cup final.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of that's when minimal teams, you only had so many teams in the league and all that. I mean, shit.
Yeah, but they've lost 2 of them in the last decade.
Right. And you talk about Tuukka being a big – so all those goalies, Rogi Vachon and all the other goalies in the late set, so they all suck too because they didn't win a cup. I mean, come on. The Bruins are just not – some teams just can't win the big games. Montreal won them all, even though they had all the French-Canadian players, which was still bullshit all these years later. But, that's Montreal. Do what Montreal thinks. All right, this is a good one for Glenn. I think we're going to end on this one. Why is Jeremy Jacobs such a bad owner?
It's an interesting question. I don't know that
he doesn't live here and he doesn't give a shit.
I mean, I don't have a ton of passionate opinions on Jeremy Jacobs.
Wow.
I mean, the NHL is like slightly different than other sports where the owners really have a heavy hand in what goes on the roster specifically. Obviously, like Bob Kraft has like his hands in everything that Bill Belichick does. So I don't think of it the same way. Maybe Jeremy Jacob does. I just don't think of him as like the go-to when the Bruins make a dumb decision from the front office. There's Bruce Cassidy, Don Sweeney, Cam Neal. There's so many other names I think of before I think of Jeremy Jacobs.
Well, Jeremy Jacobs, he sees us as solely as an investment.
Yes.
No matter what industry, entertainment, selling jumbo meatballs and hot dogs that he does at the concessions. Because that's what he bought a team basically, I think, to fuel his concession business. I mean, think about it. He makes all this money off the concession. So that's
what Mark Cuban did too. So
well, let's go back to Jeremy Jacobs. One thing though, about during the pandemic, he basically didn't want to pay his people that were out of work, which is kind of it's scumbaggery, if you ask me. But that is my hard opinion on him. And I've been around a long time. He didn't start spending money until probably the last 8-10 years. He didn't spend any money. All those early, like 80, you see Adam Oates behind me. Those 80, late 80s, early 90s Bruins teams needed 1 or 2 more guys. And they could have competed with the Edmonton Oilers of the Mark Messiers and stuff. But he didn't want to spend the money. And they always, got waxed by Edmonton in the end. So, all right. So thank you, Shannon, for that lightning round. So the last question, which I know you enjoy, what you drinking segment. So my new drink is one of Tuukka's favorites. This is not why I'm drinking it, but maybe a reason. Is the long drink. I don't know if you've tried those yet. The long drink. It's a gin. I'm not a big gin person, but it's gin.
I'm a big gin person.
Grapefruit. I'm not a grapefruit person. And some kind of weird berries they have in there too. So this doesn't really sound tantalizing at all. But it's like a Sprite, I guess. But you can.
Do you make this yourself or do you get?
No. These are real drinks. No, long drink. Look it up. Yes, these are sold. There's like a cranberry one. There's a harder alcohol one. Check it out. I'm telling you, you'll like it. And they're out of Finland. Something that they put together in 1952 because they had the Olympics. I really read a lot into it. But it's something you can pound if you're not in the mood for. Like I love IPAs, but sometimes you just don't want a heavy beer during the summer. These things are poundable. My wife likes them too, and she doesn't like anything I like, so that's good. That worked. So what are you imbibing on? What would you like to tell the folks that Shannon Walsh?
Yeah, like we're entering summer, so the summer bod does not need to chug beer the way that it does in the winter.
Right.
So there's a brewery in Virginia called Devil's Backbone that has these like canned cocktails called, one's called Orange Smash, and they've got a grapefruit smash and a lemonade smash, but it's like a cocktail of 10% ABV and it tastes like orange soda. And so I drink like 2 of those during our streams and it's great. They're so good. They sell them at like all of the outdoor bars in DC. So I don't necessarily have to pay for all the rail drinks. I can just get a can or whatever and call it a day. They're really good.
Devil. Okay. You have family up here, right?
Yeah. They're actually coming to visit this weekend.
All right. But you do come back home periodically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we meet at some point. I'm vaccinated.
I have a list of people that next time I come up because I haven't been back to Massachusetts since I started the podcast. So I've got a list of Boston
cool.
podcasts I got to meet.
I'll have to be on that list. I need you just to bring an 18-wheeler full of that drink you're talking about.
Just full of DC alcohol.
Yeah, so it's called what you said, Devil's Backbone.
Yeah.
Orange Smash.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many things that are not wrong with any of this. Devil's Backbone, Orange and Smash. I mean, this is all.
But Devil's Backbone beer is really good too. I haven't had one beer from there that I don't like.
All right, Shannon, see you twisting my arm. If you'd like to bring any up next time, long drinks. But I think they sell long drinks down there. So you people out there, check that out. So Shannon, I thank you as always. I appreciate you being on. I love, always thank you for letting me on your Slapshot Sweethearts stream. Was always fun.
Absolutely.
So if you'd like to plug that, anything else you got going on, feel free.
Yeah, thank you for having me on as always. It's always fun. Like Joe said, I am Shannon from the Slapshot Sweethearts. I'm one of the co-hosts with my co-host Megan. We are active on all social media. We are streaming NHL playoff games almost every night on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you check us out on there. We're taking requests on what games you want to see. We'll be very active in Bruins round 2, particularly if we are playing the Penguins, since my co-host is a Penguins fan. So come help me fight off the Penguins fans. And make sure that you check us out on social media. I really appreciate it again for having me on. This has been fun.
Well, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for joining the Big Bad Bruins Bantah with Papa and Mono, because the stereo's not working well with the ears right now at the moment, but hopefully they'll be better. But let's we'll be talking to you probably after the next series. Hopefully that will be a victory as well. You guys be good, be safe, and we'll let's go Bruins. Just hold on. I didn't start recording.